Hey, this is Terry Brereton from Paul Brown Motors. One of the most frequent questions I get asked here is, who's Paul Brown? My name's Terry Brereton. The name on the store is Paul Brown, and I just wanted to give you a little idea where that comes from. See, back in the early 1950s, a gentleman by the name of Paul Brown, not the football guy, but Paul Brown, the farmer from Hinsdale, bought this dealership from another gentleman named Bill Wasson. This was around 1952. For about 30 years, Paul worked here and did a really good job for the community, was a very successful businessman, and had a really good reputation as a Dodge dealer. About the early 80s, around 1983, Paul met my father, John Brereton, who was a graduate of St. Bonaventure University. They had a couple discussions about Paul wanting to retire and get out of the business. My father at the time was a Chevrolet dealer in Honeoye Falls, New York. My dad really liked the area. Paul and he got along well, and they made a deal for my dad to buy the business from Paul. At that point in time, Paul retired and my dad took over. One of the big questions for my dad at that time was whether or not we wanted to change the name to something like Brereton Dodge. But as you can tell just by the way that sounds, that's not too easy on the tongue. It's also really hard to spell. So my dad, not being a person that was really interested in putting his name on anything, although he was proud to own a car dealership, he didn't think it was really important for him to have his name on the store. Paul also had a really good reputation as a fair businessman and also running a really great service department here in Olean. So my dad thought it best to let people know that we really weren't changing the way that Paul did business, and that business was going to kind of continue on a lot the way that Paul did it. So we kept the name Paul Brown Dodge. One of the other things that's happened over the years is we've gained some franchises. We've gone from being just a Dodge dealer to a Jeep dealer to a Chrysler dealer, and in the last couple of years, even a Kia dealer. And we've kept the Paul Brown name the whole time. So really what Paul Brown is more about the way we do business here in town than about who we are. So even if we grow in the next couple of years and add some other brands, etc., it'll always be Paul Brown because it's more about the way we do business than the name on the sign.